Introduction. The threat of rising sea levels. Rising sea levels pose a significant threat to coastal cities around the world. Driven by climate change, melting ice caps, and the thermal expansion of water, these rising levels can lead to flooding, infrastructure damage, and displacement. Cities must develop adaptive strategies to protect their populations and economies from these risks. Monitoring and predicting sea level rise. One of the first steps in preparing for rising sea levels is monitoring and predicting their future impact. Coastal cities use scientific models, satellite data, and tide gauges to track changes in sea levels. These tools help predict which areas are most at risk, allowing cities to plan accordingly for future flooding or erosion. Building sea walls and flood barriers. To protect their shores from rising water, many cities invest in seawalls, flood barriers, and levees. These physical barriers are designed to prevent or minimize the damage caused by storm surges and high tides. Notable examples include the Thames Barrier in London and the Dutch Delta Works, which are designed to withstand rising waters in the Netherlands. Restoring natural coastal defenses. Some cities focus on restoring natural defenses such as mangroves, wetlands, and coral reefs. These ecosystems act as buffers, absorbing wave energy and reducing coastal erosion. Restoring these natural defenses is often a more sustainable and cost-effective solution compared to building hard infrastructure. Elevating buildings and infrastructure. In areas most vulnerable to flooding, cities are encouraging or mandating the elevation of buildings and infrastructure. Raised foundations and flood-resistant materials help minimize damage during high water events. For example, in flood-prone areas of New Orleans, building codes require new constructions to be elevated above a certain height to withstand rising waters. Creating resilient urban designs. Cities are also redesigning their urban spaces to be more resilient to flooding. This includes building floodable parks, creating permeable surfaces for water absorption, and integrating green infrastructure like rain gardens. Urban planners aim to reduce the impact of rising sea levels while also improving the livability of urban spaces. Developing flood warning systems. Advanced flood warning systems play a crucial role in mitigating the effects of rising sea levels. By using real-time data from sensors and weather forecasts, cities can provide early warnings to residents and businesses about potential flooding events. This allows for quicker evacuations, the protection of property, and better preparedness for storms and flooding. Coastal zoning and managed retreat. Some cities are adopting coastal zoning laws to prevent development in high-risk areas. Managed retreat is another strategy where communities and infrastructure are relocated away from vulnerable coastal areas. This approach can help reduce long-term risk and prevent large-scale damage as sea levels continue to rise. Investing in research and innovation. Cities are investing in research to develop innovative solutions to cope with rising sea levels. This includes the exploration of floating buildings, underwater tunnels, and new materials that can withstand the pressures of constant water exposure. Ongoing research is critical to understanding how best to adapt to future climate challenges. International cooperation in climate action. Given that rising sea levels are a global issue, cities are increasingly collaborating on solutions. International organizations, governments, and non-governmental entities are working together to address climate change and reduce greenhouse gas emissions, which are the primary drivers of sea level rise. Collaborative efforts aim to mitigate the problem on a global scale. Conclusion. Adapting for the future. As rising sea levels continue to threaten coastal cities, preparation is crucial to safeguarding lives, infrastructure, and economies. From building flood defenses and restoring natural ecosystems to implementing urban design changes and international cooperation, cities are adopting a variety of strategies to adapt to this ongoing challenge. Effective action now can ensure that cities remain resilient in the face of a changing climate.